let's skip ahead. We don't need 1080p to make fun of. No, I mean to correct something. I shouldn't say make fun of. That's a harsh word. Man, I can't. This is pretty low quality though. Okay, so already I'm just gonna say let's do 720 because that's rough to watch. What was? I guess you wanted to speed past this entrance quicker, but understand that while you're up here, you are sniper food, as you almost were. And I guess this does kind of work, but I mean, you could stay on the ground and you can do a little hop, and then again to go quick down again. So you can go this way, basically do a small little hop, and then do another one to get really quick there. I just don't get why you need to use both of your resources. You're down to one mine. I like the trap there. I would actually start creating space right away. Oh, we're about... Okay. And another thing I've always... application to use for recording games? I don't have anything specific. While it is okay to die for people, rule 1 with any hero is just take what is given to you. The Hanzo was given to you on a silver platter. So it's great you killed the Reinhardt, cool. But, I mean, you could have... I mean, you did mess up the jump, that's fine, but you also could have killed the... Did you? Wow. Okay. So already I'm seeing a little bit of awareness issues. So, you saw the Widow go past you. You didn't really react to it. The Hanzo you didn't react to either when you just moved right past him. So, already, like, play aside whatever hero you're playing aside. That's kind of like an Overwatch fundamental, just FPS fundamental, just that awareness. That's fine. You just want to zone him there. Alright. Widow used hack, so careful about going up high if you ever start doing that. And when you throw concussive mines, remember it's actually a really useful resource. Just okay, so that's what you're doing it for. Okay. It's dangerous because you didn't see if their Zarya used her bubbles or not. So be careful with that. I know they didn't, and you made it in. Also, you have a jumping issue. I would stop jumping so much, especially since you jump during every attack. So the first thing I'm noticing is 1, awareness. 2, understand resources. Like, you did not need to use that. Here's that jumping again on every shot. Conserve resources when you can. I mean, look, you've just gotten 2. Okay, from down low. I don't mind this play, specifically. Okay. Again, if you just went with your team on that one, you would have saved resources, if nothing else. Okay, at this point, you want to be... No, don't... So what you want to be doing is taking the high ground. So, just have a rhyme or reason for what you're doing. So, okay, you messed that up. I mean, that just comes with time. You'll figure it out. So you're going low, and I'm assuming you're going low to surprise someone or to do something sneaky. But then you just kind of go up with your team. So already it's like, alright, if that was your plan, just go up with your team immediately. Secondly, at this point, so the Hanzo just got slept to your right. Alright, your team controls this area. It's better to be up here as it's safer. It's harder to get to you, and also you are a little bit closer, and you can actually go back a little bit farther, and it's harder for these people on the ground to hit you. Like, I think people actually have to be back here to get a line of sight up here. So you actually want to go in a little bit deeper at this point. It's staying back here that's actually gonna, this is more harmful. If you were a hit scan, I would say this is great because you have this entire field of view. You can see what's going on everywhere, and you have a good shot on everyone. But as a slow projectile class, not really. And as going after this target is not something to go after because, one, he's taking half damage. Secondly, anything you do with the concussive mine, he's just going to take control and get up here faster. Right? The enemy has full control with concussive mine just as much as you do. If you do hit him with this, it's only going to aid him to getting back up here faster. In fact, the fact that he's on the ground means that nano boost will be worn off by the time he gets up to here. So at this point, this guy's a moot point. You shouldn't deal with him at all because he doesn't need to be dealt with. And because you stay on the ground, Zarya has a chance to get you, and she does.
My ultimate is almost ready.
I got it.
Alright, you got one person down low, one person up high, one's with you, and two are respawning. So, go somewhere safe. Just sitting in front of there at a higher SR is actually dangerous. This is a safe-ish place, but they can still crash it. So by this point, you already want to have a trap. Double kill. Cool. Just get out of there. Don't fight him. Okay, there you go. Good job. So, that was a good push. Also, be really careful when you're charging a tire right at the Reinhardt. If you don't know if his Flame Strike is up or down, I mean, he can immediately kill it.
The hunter lays a trap for his prey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Alright, reset up immediately. Quick enough.
I could use some assistance.
Okay. So, Junkrat has very good control when having a pillar to bounce off. Or in this case, this pipe. So, any type of circular object is really, really useful for Junkrat players. If you take a top-down view, and I'm just going to draw a circle, what it allows you to do is it really allows you to control exactly where you're shooting at. So you can hit this edge right here. And this is funny, this is where you actually got to be more accurate than a Widow. This line, like the model, will deflect it farther left. And then as you get closer here, it'll deflect closer like this. So whenever you have a circular object, so this pillar, technically this tree, but this tree doesn't have a hitbox starting like right here, I believe. The tree on Anubis is another good example, or the pillars on Anubis. These are all really, really good examples of how to get a lot of control on your ricochets. So this is good that you're here and you're looking at them, because like a shot right here probably has a really good chance of hitting someone. You can actually step back, and like if this is a good Hanzo, you're probably going to be dead. If they got a good Zen, I mean, you could get body shot by him and then headshotted by him. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get damage when someone's good. Also, if the diva's just smart and she just kind of targets you, you're gonna have to run away. You'll take a bit of damage. There's a chance you die if someone else hits you and she dives you with everything. So it's just going out this far is very, very dangerous. At a higher SR, I would never do this. So it's alright, you do it here. Alright, someone else is going to deal with that, you deal with the main choke point. Okay. Okay, so now you have to deal with this. Alright, cool. He did not pay attention to you at all. I would have actually grabbed the health. Oh, that was a good shot. And you get rest. So... with Junkrat... you want to retrap as well. Alright, I guess you just don't get punished at this SR for that type of stuff. Cool. One, just don't do that at a higher SR because you're just gonna die.
The hunter lays a trap for his prey.
And be really... okay, yeah, get out. You're playing with fire. The Hanzo could headshot you very easily from there. This could be one of the ones where people submit it just to show off, but we'll still go through with it. Whenever someone gets past... when anyone gets past the defensive line like that, and you have to make a choice, do you want to deal with the flanker, or do you want to just stay on, you know, the main choke point and get a lot of damage off? It's up in the air on what's the correct answer. Okay. Yeah, good. You may want to save resources a little bit more. You're using concussive mine a lot and getting very little from it. Don't use it on them.
Into the iris.
So, obviously, Nano Boosted takes half damage. He's going to take 300 max damage from that. Okay. I'm fine with that. You want to just get rid of variables.
Die.
Okay. Resource usage, definitely a thing you need to watch out for. Using it way too often for no really good reason. What did you do that was wrong? Is this an L or a W? No, it's probably still a loss. Yeah, it's still a loss, but... I get a lot of people, they're just like, I tried to carry as hard as I could, what can I do better? And what they're trying to say is, they're like, look how good I am. And they just kind of use it as a chance to show off. Okay. Trap there? Again, that was right there. You didn't even detonate the first mine, and you threw out the second one. Yeah. So this comes down to resource usage, and also when you're watching people, don't just cycle through people crazy. Like, you use the death cam to pick up information. If you just cycle through people all crazy, like you don't pick anything up, and you're ruining the entire point of watching people.
Select your hero.
Also, you fell down for no reason. Remember, hold the high ground, if you can. Did he already die once? Okay, he got shot. On with the game.
If at first you don't succeed, blow it up again. Oh, just taking the objective.
I don't know why you needed to use 2.
I could use some assistance.
Here we go.
Okay. Again with the hopping. Also, I'm not gonna say you should have known the Hanzo was there, but you did see your Ana die over there to a Hanzo in the kill feed. Now, there's no guarantee that's where the Hanzo was going to stay, but always stay aware. Again, you throw out Concussive Mine way too much. Like, you've just used both cooldowns for it. You already had a mine there. Only thing you can really do is at that point is staying in the middle area is actually really dangerous. Not picking a side is incredibly dangerous. So you notice how you were just kind of sitting in this area? You needed to sit against the wall or like back here or back here to regroup. I just want to know what you're... Like, what is the thought pattern? Are you going to go up and over? Like, you do get over, but you use all of your resources, and it really doesn't gain you anything. Also, start trapping mode. There you go.
You're powered up. Get in there.
There's no one to stop me now.
Trap?
Fire in the hole.
Jesus Christ.
We've heard this one before. Oh, that's a good spot.
Okay.
My servants never die.
I feel like this guy always has a mine ready. He just uses it very willy-nilly. Again, trap immediately.
Objective A captured. Commence
Like,
attack on objective B.
Again, he used all his resources and accomplished nothing. Someone's right above you. Yeah, that's good. Oh! Then he dies. Again, stop all your jumping.
60 seconds remaining.
You won't get rid of me, that.
He's playing Junkrat like Farah. He just likes to be in the air a lot.
Join up with me.
The thing is, at a higher SR, that much visibility is going to get you killed. If they're running a Widow, you will be dead during that. And now he just has to wait for his mine to come back.
30 seconds.
The soldier's above you. You threw that up without looking. That soldier's still on the high ground. No one's dealt with him yet. Alright. Soldier's still alive. So use your sound. And, like, if you had a concussive mine, you probably could have been up there and contesting them. So those are definitely the things you have to fix before anything else.
Blow it up again.
Nano boost administered.
Feeling powerful.
He relies on his mines way too much. He does. Not to be on the guy, not to be too hard on the guy. But like, this is why people hate Junkrats.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
And he goes away.
Hi. Hiya. Hello.
Yeah, it's not... A jumping hero is easier to hit, but you just lose mobility.
Hi.
You lose the option to choose to do something. He did try to mind jump to the soldier. He did, but he did it way, way late.
2, 1.
Ice wall.
Um,
Reporting for duty. Defend objective A.
he just did it after the soldier killed a couple of people. He needed to do it immediately. Yeah, he hasn't utilized the high ground on...
Time to raise my APM. Let's see if you're past this. Yikes! My fault.
Yeah, don't worry about walling up there. I don't think you get a meaningful wall, really.
Join me. Group up with me. Ice wall coming up. Ready.
So, ice wall usage. The primary purpose of ice wall, especially on a map like this.
Knocking them off.
Okay, see, Mei really needs to be able to control the choke point. That's the entire purpose. Okay. Okay, like,
All systems checked out.
yeah.
Behind you. This was stop.
Area denied.
Up, and he fell. So, you actually did not use Mei Wall to cut off the choke point once. It sucks that she has to be played that way, but, like, that is her main job, is to be the valve. You want to let through as many people as your team can kill without taking losses. And the reason I say that, and not just say let one person get through and kill them, is if you can let 2 people through and kill both of them, then you kind of get double the ult charge. They have a higher chance of surviving, but, you know, that's still a thing that can happen. So, you have to learn to wall off the choke as soon as people come in.
Objective B.
That's the Mei's main deal. The other main deal is if you have a Reinhardt, then it's to wall off behind the enemy Rein, usually. Basically, wall off behind someone.
Nerf this. Okay, suiting up.
So at this point, what I would use Mei Wall for is to separate the supports from the main tanks. Watch out for the mine.
All systems checked out.
Okay, to give yourself some reprieve, that works. Yeah. So that's what I like to use Mei for, is to isolate members of the enemy team. To split them apart. To split the supports from the team, especially when it comes to dive. If you have 2 of their teammates diving and they're running an Ana, then just wall in front of the Ana.
Come on.
If you walled off the choke point, like the main choke point right there, remember that their Ana's not going to have a way to get around. And it would probably be better if you stayed up there. Unsure why you dropped. You want to get the high ground. You want to be able to get some type of sight on this choke point from a safe position. Like right now, you need to wall off the choke point. And your Mei's ult naked doesn't really help. Yeah, Mei's ult is really used for a follow-up. Again, you're cycling through stuff without even seeing what's happening, so you're getting nothing.
That could have gone better.
Should you be able to tell where the supports are, because I can't make out anything in the chaos? Yeah! Yeah, you should always be able to tell where the supports are at. Yeah, I would consider that like a platinum level skill.
I have to get back in the fight.
Maybe I'm a little hard on the platinum players.
Defeat.
All right, give me 1 second. All right. So, cooldown usage is huge. Yeah. So, but actually, it's funny. Both May and, well, a lot of ultimates are like this, but May and Junkrat ult are both like this with, in regards to, it's actually just everyone. Basically, both with May ult and Junkrat ult, you kind of want to have enemy uses, not to have cooldowns available. Specifically Zarya. Zarya is a big pain in the ass. Reinhardt more so for Junkrat, but make sure cooldowns are used. Try not to use naked May ults unless you have them walled in, and you can definitely get something out of it. May ult can just be run out of. It can be Zen ulted out of. If the supports are outside the freeze, sometimes they can, burst heal through them, and you won't be able to get them killed. A lot of stuff like that. But overall, we'll just go up on action. We'll just say Junkrat and May. And there wasn't very much in May. So, Junkrat, less mine dependency. And I think that has to do with your accuracy just being low. Be a little bit more calmer. I noticed you're kind of shooting all willy-nilly a lot. And I think you just maybe need a lower sensitivity, but that's up to you. After a while, you can get used to a higher sensitivity. Obviously, I'm the extreme example of that, but it does have its drawbacks in all its forms. Even when you get really good, sometimes you'll have bad days. Yeah. So I think your accuracy is a little rough, and because of that, you're using your mines constantly. Just constantly. I mean, that's what you're doing. And maybe it's not a terrible thing to be using your mines constantly, but you shouldn't be depending on them and not using your primary attacks. Yeah, I mean, you were really dependent on them. And we'll get to more down here. I mean, I guess we can do this right now. Logistics, basically getting from point A to point B, and also I consider this ability usage. Funny for you, it's actually both. Don't... meaningful minds. So, one, your mine usage was willy-nilly. You just constantly used it for everything, including for no reason. You use it a lot for movement between the points, and you use both mines, and then you have just a 16-second cooldown you gotta wait for, which slows everything down. Make sure when you use them, you have a reason. There was even one time where you used 2 mines in a row without detonating the first one. You just have to use them. You need to use them for a reason, a specific reason. All right, I'm going to use this to hurt this Zen or to push this guy out of the way. Maybe it is something you just want to throw it out there. You're like, look, I'm just trying to get all charge as fast as possible. That's acceptable. But don't be like, all right, I'm going to mind jump up here so I can mind jump through the choke point that my team has already walked through, which actually has taken me more time to get through because I went backwards and then above the choke than to just walk through it. Positions. Use high ground. mean, come on. Fucking Obi-Wan knew it. Everyone knows it. Take the high ground advantage. You never use the high ground advantage on point 2 in Hanamura when not that what I do is correct, but high ground's so goddamn useful. I can stall for 7 minutes on the high ground on Hanamura point 2. At the same token, if I value high ground that much on defense, then I must value it as highly on offense. So when I ever go to attack Hanamura point 2, I'm always trying to clear the balcony, and then I'm trying to clear the upper balcony as well, like the ones that you can't just walk to. Like, that's where the soldier really got you guys on defense, or when you were on offense that you were on defense, is that, so I heard the soldier take a couple shots from balcony, and no one on your team dealt with it. You got a couple kills, and then you're like, oh, I'll go run away all the way across the point and then jump at them. Not going to work in a higher SR game, you're going to be killed. In fact, you were killed in a lower SR game. So if you value high ground one way, understand you have to evaluate on the other side with you. If you value on offense, then you've got to evaluate on defense. Stuff like that. But I think the biggest issue with you is just information. You have low awareness. The main point, the main things was, the Hanzo when you first started the game, and you just jumped past them. You still heard them, but you jumped past them. And then the Widow as she grappled past you, and you didn't do anything. And then at the end with the soldier. All of these were instances of you had the information and you chose not to do anything with it. Like, you just weren't aware of it. That's fundamental. Like, you can fuck up mind usage all you want, but if you cannot make a good decision on who's next to you, who to shoot, it's not going to matter that much. Just like how you died to the Zarya on the low ground. You needed to use the high ground, right? You needed to be at a spot where she couldn't hurt you. No, that's kind of positioning, but it's also like just understanding the value of high ground, especially against their team. Their team actually had very little, at that point in time, little to contest high ground. I think you need to be able to track enemies. Also with the Mei, we briefly mentioned it. With the walls, it kind of does come down to this awareness as well. Where it's like, alright, one person got through, wall off the main choke point, do your job. If someone gets through, you kind of gotta depend on your team to deal with that. Unless, like, no one's dealing with it. Even then, you would want to stay on the front choke point as a Mei. As a Junkrat, maybe you could fall back and deal with the flanker. Try to burst them. Try to trap them. And at least if you're dealing, like, if they're screwing around in the corner, you could still lay some fire on the choke point because you don't have any fall off damage, and you can go up and over obstacles. So you could still have some presence on the choke, but as a Mei, you need to be at the choke. I think that all comes down to awareness. So this is the crux of your issue. If we had to talk about other things, then it's just like using the high ground, less mind dependency with this accuracy, meaningful minds. It's just understand your abilities and use them consciously. Have thought into everything you do. These are all what I would consider first-person shooter basics. None of this relates to Junkrat specifically. Like, getting more accurate is any hero can use that for. Understanding the use of high ground positioning, that's any hero. Meaningful minds, so meaningful abilities, like have a reason for why you're doing things, that's every hero. Information, awareness, that again, every hero. This isn't Junkrat specific, and whenever I talk about first-person shooter basics, and people are like, what do you mean by that? This is kind of what I mean. This has nothing to do with Overwatch and why this guy's playing this game bad. He is just new to the first-person shooter genre, or just poor at it, and he needs to work on it. Any questions before I move on? I guess, what should he work on? Awareness. How do you work on that? I think just slow the fuck down. Slow down, like, stop running straight into the enemy. Understand that this is like, mastery doesn't come from, or I guess I should say, mastery doesn't come from doing things quick. Actually, doing things quick and making it seem like you know what you're doing is the slowest way to advance in life in any skill. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. That's all there is to it. Speed comes from mastery, and speed comes from grinding down the unnecessary. And it's less about speed and more about efficiency. You become incredibly efficient. Doesn't look like we have any questions, so